everybody. Welcome into the Porch, a Volquest.com baseball podcast. I'm Eric Cain alongside Zander Sechrist here today. And as always, the Porch is presented by our great friends over at Spivey, King and Spivey, LLP. Matthew A. Spivey, J. Matt King, Richard A. Spivey. You got a problem, let them find a solution for you. TN Trial Lawyers. They are just like you guys, big-time Tennessee fans. They love Tennessee baseball, and they're everyday people like us. But they can help you if you have a need, divorce, custody, alimony, personal injuries such as car wrecks, criminal defense, whatever the case may be. If you have a need, they can help you. A free consultation today, 423-245-4185, 423-245-4185. We're online at Spivey, King and Spivey, LLP.com. Spivey, King and Spivey, LLP, proud presenting sponsors of The Porch. Not the best weekend for Tennessee baseball, of course, falling at home in 2-1 fashion to the Kentucky Wildcats a little bit earlier in the week this week because of some things going on in my life. But wanted to get some reaction here about the Kentucky series. There will be no Porch coming out later in the week prior to Tennessee at LSU, but Brent and Grant will have you covered this weekend for that series. Zander, obviously you never like to lose. You never like to lose to Kentucky. But for me, it was the way Tennessee lost this weekend. Again, it's a long season, marathon, not a sprint. But you're starting to kind of see a theme here, unfortunately. Even though Tennessee split Texas A&M and Ole Miss series 3-3, you weren't playing your best baseball, and that kind of continued this week. Sloppy defense at times. We'll get into the run game management, bullpen issues at times, but it just feels like you're getting later in the year, and certainly you don't want to hit your peak right now, but you want to be kind of rounding into form, and it just doesn't feel like Tennessee's playing its best baseball right now.
Yeah, it's been a little bit weird, but I will say Kentucky kind of plays us pretty evenly, no matter what their record is or what our record is. They kind of mesh together. I don't know when the last time either team has swept an opponent, but usually it comes down to a rubber match. Usually in that kind of series, I think all 4 years there we definitely lost in Lexington
22-3.
So yeah, in 22. So we had the best team and we still lost that series in Lexington, although it wasn't great weather, but that's an excuse that you can't really use because, you have the best team and you're going in there against, at that point, Kentucky was still trying to, get going with their guys and their group. But it seems that, these two teams are kind of evenly matched, maybe not on paper, but just the way the product is on the field. And I think what gets us hurt against Kentucky, it seems to have a common theme of just like shooting ourselves in the foot. It doesn't seem that either team is going to be dominant in the series because you can look at Kentucky, they've shot themselves in the foot a couple times, and then you look at our side, we've shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. So I think for some odd reason, every time like that week falls into the year, it's going to go down to a third game, and obviously you mentioned that they need to start getting into form, which, yeah, it's kind of getting later. It's kind of getting to that time where, hey, all right, we should have things figured out a little bit. What I see is that I think we need maybe two guys to just, grab it and take over with it and just kind of take over and be a leader on the squad and kind of step up per se, because this is the type where, you're getting later into the season. Obviously, you can't worry about everything else. You got to worry about the opponent that's right in front of you. And obviously, we got LSU this weekend, which is not going to be an easy series there, especially in Alex Box, I believe. And it's time. It's step up time. It's put up or shut up time because it's just only going to get harder from here. It's not going to get any easier. You had your preseason. You had your pre-SEC season where the couple first weeks of conference play are kind of getting your feet wet and kind of understanding what your team is, but now it's go time, and obviously not off to a great start, but hopefully we can turn around soon.
Zander, we got many topics I want to discuss, but I think the overarching question, concern, and again, this is Tennessee baseball team that's still ranked inside the top 10, a Tennessee baseball team that's 33-7, 12-6. Fanatic, sky's not falling, but there are some valid concerns, and that's kind of why I want to ask you. The biggest one of them would be defending the run game. And I get it, man. Like, I've heard it for years covering you guys. Charlie talks about it. I think you even talked to us about it. Like, and Tony referenced it in post-game media this weekend. It's, do you want to focus on the battle, which is the base paths, or do you want to focus on the war, which is the hitter in the box? And I get that. And you guys won a national championship last year under that philosophy. I get it. However, like, there's an extent, in my opinion, and this is where you are, where it's kind of taking over the game. Like, no, with Liam on the mound the last 2 weekends, I don't believe Ole Miss or Kentucky stole a bag. Now, he's a lefty. I get it. It's a little bit more difficult. But with Marcus, specifically Marcus, that's where he's really struggled. He allowed 7 stolen bases against Ole Miss. He allowed 8 against Kentucky, 10 in one game on Saturday. They stole another 6 on Sunday. And I get Kentucky's aggressive. I think Ole Miss was more like they saw something on tape and were aggressive. I think Kentucky is just, that's how they play. So there might be some outliers here, but it's you've got to pause, you've got to look over, you've got to throw over. I mean, tell me, what's the process for a pitcher to try to defend that run game? Because it's not all on the catcher. And Marcus was, we can get into more of his start in a moment. I thought he was really good and worked out of tight jams and all that, but that is one area specifically with him to where, man, that's, in my opinion, it's got to get better.
Yeah, I think just overall, especially when I was there, that philosophy was never like, runner this, runner that. It was always, like you said, the battle is at the plate. Like, hey, you lost that battle, move on to the next one, which is the hitter. But I think if you look back, especially before, after COVID, I'm sorry, it's kind of been a common theme overall that, a lot of people can steal on Tennessee and not a lot of people slide step like for us. It's just that I don't think we're nearly slow to the plate. I think a lot of people are just getting good jumps. You mentioned Kentucky playing their game. Yes, that is their game. They're a speedy type, small ball type team. And I don't think they really exploited anything. I just think they just played baseball in a sense. And obviously you can look at that Ole Miss start from Marcus and then carry it over to Kentucky like back-to-back weeks. But maybe if we flip, like maybe if we played Kentucky before Ole Miss, maybe it's a little bit different. I do like your point that you said that Ole Miss probably saw something on tape because, I mean, they exploited it like as soon as they got on, they were going. I did watch the last time you had Chuck on. You mentioned that when I kept throwing over, you're like, oh my God, here we go. The funny part about that is all the picks are called from like Coach A. So when I threw over 5 times, it was like Coach A. A little bit of myself too, if I saw something, because Coach A is always like as a lefty, because you're looking right at him. If you see something, just pick over. You don't have a pickoff limit like you do in pro baseball. So yeah, that's why I mean the national championship game, I think I threw over about 3 times, threw 2 pitches, and then threw over another like 3 times, threw 1 pitch, and then threw again, and then Burton took off. So I hate like referencing to myself, but I think it's like easier to reference. I'm just like a read guy because I'm just going to lift and throw over. I'm not really trying to like pick off because, first read, as soon as the lefty lifts, it's like they're gone. So that's why you just give it a little nice little firm behind it. Not like a lob when you see them go, but if they don't go, then you can lob it over there. But yeah, it hasn't been like like I said, if you look back, I mean, Burns had a high leg kick, Doe had a high leg kick, Beam has a high leg kick. So it's like, not just this year that it's been exploited. I think our offense has kind of overshadowed it.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. When the off like this weekend, the last 2 games, like if you're not hitting, everything's exploited. Like a couple years ago, like sloppy defense at times. Yeah, that was the case in 22, but you guys were scoring 12 runs a game. Like it overshadows things, so it magnifies when one part of your game is not there that weekend, and so it magnified this weekend.
It's different when you're up 12-2 in a ball game and like it's a 1-0 ball game. It's totally different. It's two different types of games. But I mean, they're probably talking about it at practice this week.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that one bit. They're definitely going to go over something because something has to change. Because if not, then I mean, in the SEC tournament, any team's just going to run. Especially a team like a 10 seed or an 11 seed or a 12 seed that need to win in order to get into a regional. You see it all the time. I mean, LSU last year and South Carolina last year as well. They're 11 and 10s right there. They'll do anything to win that ball game in Hoover. So I think it definitely needs to be pointed out, and it definitely needs to be adjusted. I wouldn't worry about it technically right now, but it definitely by season's ends it needs to be figured out. I don't know how you do it. Maybe make Marcus quicker to the plate. Maybe work on him with a slide step. Maybe make other pitchers with a slide step. But I mean, the cliche is if you don't want them to run, don't let them get on. But it's not that easy.
It's baseball. You're going to have base runners.
Yeah, it's definitely not that easy.
Yeah, and again, I want to be abundantly clear, and I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking in general. I don't think this is this has been Tennessee's philosophy with under Vitello and with Frank, and you guys have won so many games, won a national championship. So I get it, but it's to a certain extent to where at least the last two series, it's like, okay, you get on base, going, and so it's putting just so much added pressure. And for Marcus, I thought on Saturday he was really good. Now, the stolen bases were a thing, and he put himself in those situations, but he stranded 6 guys in scoring position, stranded 7 overall. He worked 5, gave up 2 runs that were both unearned. It overshadows what I thought was a pretty good start for Marcus because all we're talking about is the base runners. So anyway, that's something to where you're not going to change everything you've always done, but I do think some tweaks, and that's what Charlie last week was talking about. Again, just pausing, just throwing over, looking. There was one point in time, I think Marcus, it was Saturday, when there was a guy on second. He didn't even look at the guy, and the guy's just going. And it's just you got to at least pay him a little bit of attention. So that, for me, I hope he takes that step because, again, I think he's done a lot good this year. I think he did a lot on Saturday, and they obviously need him to continue to hold down Saturday. Let's talk some good, right? I mean, I told you it's not going to be all doom and gloom. Friday, man, I mean, Liam Doyle just continues to shove. And let's not forget, guys, there was a stretch early in SEC play where people were questioning Liam Doyle. Another 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits, gave up 2 runs. Just a really, really good outing. And the way that he sets the tone for the weekend, Saturdays have been an issue here of late, but the way that he sets the tone for the weekend, he threw a lot more off speed on Friday, which I thought was noteworthy because majority of the time he's throwing some type of variation of his fastball. He's becoming more complete, it looks like, as the year goes along, and that's a big reason why he's going to be a first-round pick. Yeah,
I do agree with you there. I think he got a little bit fastball heavy earlier on in the season, and obviously it's going to be on a report when you do it 100-plus times. But he definitely, I guarantee you, he worked with Coach A in a couple bullpens about developing probably a cutter of some sort, just to give another look, or maybe he already had it. I'm not too sure on that, but he's definitely got to use his off speed more as the season gets later on, because nowadays, I mean, anybody can get to 98. It's crazy how things have evolved. So you don't want to get too fastball heavy, because he kind of reminds me of Blade a little bit, because Blade also was a fastball heavy guy. Earlier in his career, he would go. If it was 0-2, it was going to be a heater up, almost, I guarantee you, 90% of the time. So, that's a little bit of comparison there. If people, have been around long enough to realize who Blade Tidwell was, because I know you get the bandwagon fans that hop on the Tennessee bandwagon after the championship.
Hey, saw a couple of jerseys of Blade Tidwell this past weekend. I looked down
really?
and said, "Oh, that's a couple years old." Okay,
yeah, that's a couple. That's a couple. Yeah, that's 21. That's 21. Yeah. But yeah, he just needs to keep doing his thing. I do like how he sets the tone for the weekend, but unfortunately, if Tennessee can't hold up their end of the bargain, then it's kind of another, not wasted, but almost kind of a blow on Friday, because you waste a very, very talented arm. But I know you're not going to start him any other day. Obviously, you got to set the tone for the weekend. So yeah, he just needs to keep rolling. Obviously, I think if I were in his shoes, I would probably start off batters with more off speed than a fastball, or maybe if you need a quick out, go with the heater, and they're going to swing, and that going back to the run game thing, I think it's important to hold runners, especially on first base, because one pitch, you got 2 outs right there. So if anytime Liam gives up a guy with a walk or something and they're not going, just try to get a ground ball double play to keep the pitch count down. That's the one thing that I've kind of noticed with him. He does ramp up the pitch count pretty quickly, and if he does use more off speed, he'll be able to keep that pitch count down. But I'm looking forward to seeing him continue.
Yeah, his last 2 starts specifically, I thought he worked the count really well and able to be, I guess, efficient is the word I'm looking for, because like early in the season, he was just striking everybody out and he'd be like, 4 innings, 89, 90 pitches. It's like, okay, well, you're done because it's week 2 of the season and you're not going to hit 100. Last couple of games, he's been over 100, but we're to a point now to where you can be in that 1 to 115 range, 113 range and be okay. But he's working into the 7th, 8th. I mean, he pitched into the 9th last week, so that was kind of cool. How cool was it to see your boy hit 2 home runs on Friday night in Cannon Peoples? Now, in my industry, my mindset is trying to find good stories every week or every other week to do a feature story on. And so, I thought Cannon, sure, the average is not where you want it to be, but he's hit some clutch home runs this year, South Carolina, Ole Miss. And so I talked to him, put it out there, published on Friday morning. He goes up there Friday night, hits 2 home runs. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at me. But how cool is it to see Cannon Peoples swinging the bat really well right now, because he's always worked really well with you guys behind the plate.
Yeah, it's always good to see a guy like that, especially him being such a dude at NC State and then coming over and then having to sit behind Cal and probably not what he wanted right away, because obviously when you're a dude at a school, you expect to play at the next school you go to.
And sorry to cut you off, but I mean, tell the people, I'm not lying. I always say Cannon was arguably the best hitter leading into he absolutely, leading into 2024, he was 100% the best hitter in preseason camp. I mean, I was, and then this year, I mean, he was right there as well. So the dude has put in the work and he can hit. It's just, unfortunately, at least up until this point, this past weekend before he kind of got hot, it's just not kind of where he's wanted to be.
Yeah, and it's good. See, that's the type of guy you want. If he's getting hot right now, that's perfect, because now that's just going to carry over into now. He'll obviously, it's not going to stay forever. It's gonna dip at some point, but you hope that the consistency remains there, and that's what I've noticed from him. He stays consistent at it. And I'm loving it. I mean, he did he right-handed and left-handed homer. It wasn't just from one side. So that's even more impressive. So it's pretty cool to see. And obviously, any pitcher on that staff will tell you he's very comfortable to throw to. And that's no shade. That's no shade to Chuck or Cal. I love them too. But obviously, the only one left on that team is Peebs. So and Stone, of course. Don't forget about Stone. He's pretty funny. That guy's pretty funny. But it's good to see Cannon finally take control of the role that he deserves, and obviously, with him swinging the bat well, is just going to help him propel even more.
Trivia question: when was the last time a Tennessee baseball player homered from each side of the plate in the same game?
I mean, I would say Todd Helton, but he's not a switch hitter.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you find that answer, let me know, because I have no clue. But I think that's a heck of a trivia question.
That's a good trivia question.
If we can find, I mean, I don't want to say it's never been done, because, there's not. I would go
Who
out
have
on
been
a
the
limb here,
switch
Xander.
hitters come through the program?
I was going to say, how many switch hitters have actually come through the program and hit at a high level? So, I think
Peebs is the only one in the V era for some odd reason. No, was Jay Charleston?
That was before my time. I want to say he wasn't, but you would know better than me.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know. But anyway, that's a heck of a stat. So I'm going to do some homework this week when I'm sitting around doing nothing. All right. So Tennessee wins game 1, 8-2. Liam Doyle, the story. Cannon Peoples at the plate. That was awesome. Falls 4-1 in Saturday's game. As I mentioned, the base running, the stolen bases. Do want to point out Marcus stranded 6 in scoring position. The dude got himself in trouble, but was able to dance out of it for the most part. Gave up 2 runs, 2 unearned runs. Hunter Inslee said after the game he thought it was a, quote, pretty dang good start. I kind of left thinking the same thing, and I thought it could have been a great start if he didn't get himself into issues. But nonetheless, good look from him. Sunday, things got away from him a little bit. Nate Snead there towards the end just kind of ran out of gas again. We've seen that. I guess my next question for you is gaining the trust of Frank, okay? And I know that's something that you had to go through, obviously, all you guys do. But, I mean, it's Tennessee's, they've got their dudes in the pen are Nate Snead, Dylan Loy, okay, Braden Krenzel, who missed this past weekend, and then, AJ's in there now, Tanner Franklin as well. And they ride those guys. And, I mean, you're going to ride the Combs, you're going to ride the Kirbys, like the Sneeds last year, I get it. You're going to ride those guys, but like I've got stats here that show like second appearance of the weekend, not so good. For Snead and for Franklin specifically, when you get around that 2 1/3 to 3 inning range, it's when you see that drop off, and it's kind of like you need other guys to step up and to be available for you, but it feels like they just don't trust a lot of guys in those bullpens right now. So my question for you is, I know you're not there every single day and seeing these guys work, like, who's the next guy to step up? What's that process like for gaining the trust of Frank and Tony to get weekend innings now that we're in, the end of the month of April? Like, how challenging is it to earn a role this late in the season?
It's pretty hard because right now it's kind of set in stone of who are going to be your guys and who is going to pitch on the weekends. But I mean, I would say through midweeks, he always says if you do good on the midweek, each time you do good on the midweek, you earn yourself opportunities to pitch more. I mean, he has no choice,
Braden Krenzel, that's what he said after a Tuesday, and then we saw Krenzel pitch. I think it was Alabama, and
right after Coons. I mean, it's true. I mean, I went through it too. I mean, I was pitching good on the midweeks and just never found anything on the weekend early in my career. But it's just one of those things that it takes time, and it's tough to earn a role now because of how, V's going to lean on his experienced guys. So he's going to lean on Snead. He's going to lean on Deloy for sure. That's no doubt. And obviously, why would you go away from him anyway? I mean, they've proved day in and day out that they can do it, I think Snead last outing got probably too emotional and too into the game rather than just be true to himself. That's why it probably got away from him a little bit. I think Tanner is probably, what I'm noticing is he's trying to overpower just a tad. I mean, he's throwing the pitch with conviction. He's doing everything right, but I think he's trying to, like, hey, here's 98 rather than here's my cutter at 90, like back-to-back times. So I think he's trying to overpower just too much. And I'm not, again, like you said, I'm not there with him, day in, day out. And I'm not a critic either. I don't have my own report site that I mean, there's a guy on Twitter that says Zander Sechrist is left arm, and everybody thought it was my burner, but it's not. So anything that person puts out there, I'm just like, oh, I hope. Because some points, they're like, ooh, they're going to think it's me because that's a lot of information for someone to know. But I think we're fine. Maybe it's just been a rough patch in the middle of the year. I mean, we are in the middle of the year, so I think it's just a rough patch. I mean, Deloy didn't do so well, but it's kind of like, like I said, he leans on his trusted guys. He leans on experience. And if those guys don't do well, that's where the average fan's going to go, well, then who do you go to? Who else is there if these guys don't do good? Well, it's just up to V to put the next guy in. So, you just got to pitch good. And he always said, if you don't like your role, just pitch better. I mean, but it's so hard to do that during the year, and it's even so hard to do it in the fall with so many moving parts. But I think it's fine. I wouldn't look too much in it because no matter what, I mean, this weekend you're going to see Snead, you're going to see Franklin, you're going to see all the same guys again, and if they do good, everybody's going to be like, oh, there we go,
Yeah.
So maybe it was just a bad weekend, but I just don't want this to be like a carryover effect. Like each time you're out there, you get like to that third inning, and then everything kind of unravels. So we'll be fine. But yeah, it's just hard to earn a role, especially at this point in the year.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're exactly right. I mean, no matter what, you're going to go out there, you're going to see Snead, you're going to see Franklin, you're going to see Deloy. Like, all these guys are going to pitch next weekend, as they should. What I saw Nate Snead do last year, like I'd be stupid to say ignore the struggles this year, and I get that, but like what I saw him do last year, I mean that guy can pitch for me whenever. Like Franklin looks so good, like over a 1 inning stretch or over an appearance or whatever, and then it's kind of like I wrote about it this week. It's kind of like one step forward, one step back. He's just kind of going, just teetering and never taking that true next step. And so hopefully these guys kind of break out of that. You know, Lloyd went like his first whatever appearances of the year without giving up a run. He's struggled the last 2 or 3 outings, but you know, he's, as we talked about, the Kirby, they throw him all the time. So I thought that was kind of interesting because like obviously those guys are going to pitch, but like who could maybe step up? Like who's the Marcus that didn't get a lot of run, but like kind of was like a guy you relied on every now and again to get a big out or to get this save or whatever. Like it doesn't feel like there's one of those guys right now, but maybe he just hasn't emerged yet. Moving on. Yeah. You know, base running an issue. Defense, 4 errors on the weekend, not great. As a pitcher, you know, last weekend there was some sloppy play as well. And again, both teams have to play on that field, but you know, heard it was choppy, and Charlie talked about it a little bit as well. But again, both teams have to play on that field. But as a pitcher, when you know maybe your defense behind you's, you know, costly error here or whatever, like what's your mindset on the mound? Like trying to block it out, just trying to, you know, go like do you make adjustments or anything? When your defense is playing a little suspect behind you, how do you go about your business on the mound?
That's the tough part. Like a good pitcher is gonna tell you like, hey, you shrug it off. It is what it is. But it's so hard because if a routine play gets botched, it's like, well, that should have been an out, and then you start thinking about how that routine play is gonna affect, you know, more stressful pitches on your arm, and then you can't go as long anymore. A suspect defense, the pitcher, you know, I'll say it as a pitcher. Sometimes I got into a mindset that I had to be perfect. Now, like, I don't know if these guys are going to make a play behind me, although I never really had that problem. But I'm just saying, for the sake of the question. But
yeah.
You're gonna force yourself to be perfect, and then that's where the mistakes that go over the plate become an issue, and that's where now you're giving up a double instead of a single or a ground ball or a fly ball, and now you're giving up a home run. So mistakes usually on the mound. If they're early in the inning without an error, obviously that's a mistake on the pitcher. But like usually after an error, it's sitting in the back of his mind like, hey, I don't know if I can really trust what's going on behind me because, you know, they couldn't make this play. Maybe even in the fall they couldn't even make this play. So if it's to his right or left, he's not going to make it. So it sits in there. But I mean, you know, Ariel's been unreal in the field. I mean, he's making plays up the middle. Dean's fine, but Dean has his games sometimes. I mean, in Ole Miss, he does use the turf a lot. If you haven't noticed, he does use the turf, and sometimes his throws get away from him. But you know,
he looked good at second this past weekend.
Yeah, he did. Bargo looked good at third. I just think for some odd reason maybe the field was choppy, but like you said, both teams had to play on the field, and it's been kind of interesting because of how like so many errors Tennessee has had like this year. And it's not like if they have a game with 0 errors and then all of a sudden they have a game with 4 and you're like, you know, I'd rather have, you know, 1-1, like, all right, 1-1 in 2 games, but from 0 to then 4 is kind of, it makes you look a little bit harder at the stat sheet, but I don't know. Maybe it's just Father Time catching up with the ground balls. I don't know.
I think it's just the more frustrating thing is like it goes back to the run game. So much pressure on the pitcher and the catcher. Like, you know, bad throw down to second, or like on Sunday, Cannon threw one down to second. Throw was a little offline. It was to the first base side, but it was a little offline. But the throw led Manny right to the sliding base runner. If he would have squeezed it, that's an out. And so they gave the error to Cannon originally. A couple of us talked to the official score. We said that's probably on Manny. But regardless, it's like that. Or Andrew Fisher just dropping a throw at the bag, or, you know, just whatever it is. I mean, it's baseball. I get it. Like that's like the more frustrating part. It's not necessarily like, a botched 4-6-3 double play at Alabama from Manny Marin, who, by the way, I mentioned Manny several times. How about this? A true freshman that is opening day starter at third base, played second base originally when Keelan was out. Now he's playing short. I mean, they're throwing so much at the guy, and he's got so much, high potential, and his bat is really good. Like, he's all over the place. I don't know what the infield's going to look like when Keelan's back in the field, but I do think right now it's like it'd be tough to move Dean from second because he looks good. I think Bargo's best defensive position's third. He made a heck of a play on Saturday. I don't know. It's interesting, but it leads me to one of my last questions I want to ask you is, and you kind of said something about this earlier, like it's kind of go time. Like it's the end of April. Like it is go time. You are heading into SEC series number 7. Hoover's a little over a month away. Like usually by now, V's kind of like, all right, this is like Christian Scott's my right fielder. We're gone. Like Cal Stark's my catcher. We're gone. Like it still feels like Tennessee's still very much trying to figure out what version of themselves is best. And Keelan's been out. He's not been in the field. That's a big part of it. But, at some point, like you got to pick your guys and go. I'm not saying those guys that are left out will never play. That's not what I'm saying. But like it feels like that has still not been made clear just yet. And like to me, it's like it's a little late in the season. Like that should be finalized, right?
For sure. I mean, the years that I've been at this point, you knew who was going to be the starting 9. You knew who was going to be the lineup, and everybody was like, all right, let's roll. You got on the bus, not even questioning if you were going to be in or not. Like you knew what we were rolling with on a Friday night in Tuscaloosa or something like that. You knew. I think maybe, now that we've, with NIL and all this, maybe – is there too much talent to where you don't want to waste the talent? You don't want to sit a guy who has so much talent on the bench. Like, it raises questions. Like, is there a lot of talent, maybe too much talent to where you're still trying to figure out the pieces? And I don't think that's like, obviously if you have a lot of talent, that's great. Like, obviously that's never the issue, but
let's
it's just
get some of this talent back. No, we're good.
Yeah. You're never going to do that. But it's like, if you start Manny at short with Dean at second and Bargo at third, I mean, you have Ariel who's making unreal plays just on the bench. Like, obviously the bat isn't there just yet, but I mean, he's making crazy plays and in SEC series, it's not just, a midweek game, but like, that's hard. And obviously with Manny being, thrown around to different positions as a true freshman, that's hard as well. Cause now you're like, all right, this game I got to be at short. Oh, now this game I got to be at third. I can only imagine that fall practice that he had to do, because during practice he moves everybody around. So I can only imagine, like, during drills he had to go from short to third to second. Yeah, that's probably a long day for Manny for sure.
Yeah,
but I think it should already been like set who you want to go. But I know with Keelan out, you got to do a little bit of moving. But I think this week, because Hoover's a month away, I think this week is the week where you'll see it. I think this is the week. Like, take last week out of it. Whatever lineup is on Friday, I think, if my experience tells me enough, this is the week where the lineup will be the same, bearing like the DH or maybe a position swap. But I think this is the week when they go to LSU will be your starting 9, like through and through.
And depending on Keelan, of course, if he's healthy enough to play defense. And let's be real, like Dean Curley's a projected top 10 pick. Gavin Keelan's right around first round pick. Andrew Fisher's top 60 pick. Those 3 guys, they're in their draft years. They are going to play the field when everybody's healthy. So, it's nice. Well, let's just DH Fisher or DH Dean. It's like, I mean, in theory, it sounds good, but like the dude is going to play the field no matter what. And so you just got, that's why you make a lot of money. You got to figure it out, and he will. Last thing I want to ask you, though, and again, I know we've been a lot of negative on here. I don't mean to be. Tennessee, again, reiterate, top 10 team. All right, 33-7, 12-6. Sky's not falling. Good ball club.
We only dropped 2 spots from an unranked loss series. That's actually crazy to me.
Shocked me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So the sky is definitely not falling.
You are going. Yeah, sky's not falling. You are going to a place where it is very, very tough to win. There's no Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz over there, but still pretty good ball club, and in one of the great environments of college baseball. What was your experience like going down there in 23, and how cool will it be for Tennessee fans who are going to make that trip?
Oh, I mean, it's Baton Rouge, man. I mean, it's Baton Rouge. I mean, when we went down there, it was Dover Skeens, and that was I didn't pitch that game, and thank goodness that I didn't, because I just sat there and watched like how much talent was just on that field. I mean, Doe, first rounder, 9th overall, right? And then Skeens, 1-1.
Yeah.
D Cruz, 1-2, like right there. And then you have Trey Morgan, who's another great player. You have a young Tommy White, who just transferred from NC State.
Burns, who didn't pitch well that series, but he was there. Like,
yeah. LSU legend Gavin Dugas. I mean, that guy's an LSU legend. But there was so much talent, and I think I know you texted it to me, like success on the road versus home. It's a tough place to play, and it's going to get rowdy. Friday night will be rowdy, especially when they're good. Even when they're not good, they have a little rowdy crowd, but especially when they're, top tier program. And I think LSU, we just faced them in the SEC championship. They haven't seen us since that day. So there's that sour taste in their mouth. So I think it'll be rocking. Obviously, LSU fans are unbelievable, though. Vol fans, if you make it out there, you can literally go to any LSU tailgate. Rarely are they going to fend you off for any food. So that'll be fine. The environment will be crazy. I don't know if they'll get like 14,000 like it was when it was Skeens versus Dolan or whatever the number was, but it'll be sold out. It'll be, Friday night SEC baseball, Saturday night SEC baseball, and then a Sunday game. And the first pitching change for Tennessee on Friday night, they'll be playing Colin Baton Rouge. So get ready for that. I know I wasn't allowed to like sing. Like V doesn't like when you like sing.
I love that song so much.
Oh my goodness.
I love that song.
When we changed Doelander, not saying like I wanted Doe to get out, because I had no idea. Like I had no idea they were going to play this song, and all of a sudden they played that song. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Sorry,
that's the same thing with Texas or Texas A&M. Their 7th inning songs, like Deep in the Heart of Texas. That was unreal too.
Yeah,
but
they played that a lot at the whatever the thing was earlier this year at Dakin, the formerly known Minute Maid Park. They played that song all weekend long. I'm just like, all right.
Like you get behind it a little bit. V, don't like do it in front of V, but like when you're at the end of the dugout, like me and Kirby were, we at the end of the dugout, we just like, bobbing our heads, because you can't not have fun at that point.
Yeah.
I'll cover the success on the road versus home like real quick.
Yeah, sorry. It feels like obviously everybody loves playing in front of Tennessee fans, but this team feels like they just like. And I looked at the splits. I looked down like home versus away, average versus ERA. There's no anomaly in there. Like they're pretty much, they even themselves out. Okay, like there's a bad series here and there, but like it just feels like, look at South Carolina back up against the wall. Look at Ole Miss back up against the wall. Look at bad start at Alabama, the way you responded. This team just kind of finds ways and kind of just loves playing on the road. And that's why I think like I'm not calling for a series win or anything right now. It's too early in the week, but like they're going to play better at LSU despite the venue.
Yeah. It's huge. Like if you look at national championship teams in any sport, maybe like, the hockey playoffs are going on. If you look at a team winning that cup, you have to not only look at the home record, like they're going to, of course, be unbelievable at home because you're comfortable, the scenery, you've seen that so many times. You've played fall scrimmages, fall practices at the same stadium over and over. It's just when you get into a different environment, how do you respond? How do you react? Because it's totally different. Like that view from the mound is totally different. That view from first base, totally different. It's not something that you've seen every day. It's not something that goes around a lot. So I think it's just hard when you look at national championship teams. The ones who win on the road the most tend to win the national championship or championship in anything. Like if you look at for example, like I just mentioned Stanley Cup playoffs, one of the teams in there is the Kings. The Kings are unreal at home, but they are not great on the road. So I don't think they're going to win the cup, but it just circles around the road or neutral site record. in my opinion. Obviously, the home record is going to be good because you're in front of your home fans. But overall, I think the road record is huge, and it's a good thing to look at. And obviously, even winning one game is huge. But if you can sneak a series win on the road, that's even better.
7-2 in true road games so far this year for Tennessee. Lost at Alabama, and you lost one game at Ole Miss, but of course won both of those series. Zander, as always, man, great stuff. Thanks for providing some perspective, and we'll see how this team bounces back at a great place against a really good team against LSU, man. Looking forward to seeing that and talking with you probably next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, I do want to give a shout-out, as always, to our friends over at Spivey, Cain and Spivey, LLP, for being a part of this show. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. T and Trial Lawyers specialize in criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. If you have a need, give them a call today for a free consultation at 423-245-4185. That is 423-245-4185. Spivey, Cain and Spivey, LLP.com. For Zander Sechrist, I am Eric Cain here on the Porch. It is a Volquest.com baseball podcast.